So today we're working on this Predator series. This is a log splitter. It has a 212cc Chong Qing motor. Chongqing. It is the Honda clone, basically. Cheap parts, cheap motor, and a very versatile motor. 99 bucks will probably buy you a new one. So anyhow, long story short, the owner dropped a log on it, and so we got some loose and broken parts. So let's just get right to it. You may have a similar situation happen where you'd be interested in working on your Chong Qing motor. So let's take apart the gas tank first, get that out of the way. We're going to unhook this gas. It's actually a vent line. And this, he said the nuts are missing, and the gas line wasn't even hooked up. But I hear something in there. Let's just take a look what we got going on. Okay, so the filter that usually sets in place here, it's actually a screen, is dropped down into the tank, so we're going to have to try to fish that out. And another thing is there's a little bit of residual gas in here, but nothing coming out this nipple here. So if we take a look at the nipple, there's no gas coming out, so we're probably going to have to clean this out, maybe even blow some air back into it. So that's a project by itself. We'll set that in a safe spot. And as you see, this is just floating. Let's take off that wing nut anyhow while we got it here. Try to take it off systematically and see what we actually got. And I'm noticing a lot of rust. Obviously, log splitters do sit outside. And so there's some rust, residual rust right in here. So I'm guessing that we're going to have a water and rust issue in this carburetor too. And obviously this guy's just broken right off. Okay, I see. So let's just put everything in a safe spot, and you can see there's a piece that usually goes up in that your air cleaner will set on this base, and that's broken right off. So we're going to either glue it together, epoxy it, or buy a new one. We'll do this whole project right before your eyes. The next thing I want to do is extract these two Phillips head screws. Okay. Put those in a safe spot and pick that up. So the base is just broke right here. The rest of it looks okay. And you can still see spots of rust down in this air box assembly. So we're going to have to take, there should be two nuts right here that we're going to be taking off to take off this whole carburetor assembly. Let's get right to it. And let's see, probably like a size 10 metric. Should do it. Okay, put these two nuts in a safe spot, and now we're going to start taking things apart. Gingerly, cautiously, make sure nothing's dropping or falling. Okay, this vent line is already loose. Look at this spark plug. That cable's broke. That'll help it not run. Okay. So you got your choke and your gas stops that you got to push in. So here we go. See all this rust in here? Let's see if we can show you a good, let me see if I can get in front of my camera screen here. So there's residue of rust on the inside of this. This is going to need to be blown out, cleaned out very thoroughly. We don't want any dust, debris in this at all. Okay, so now let's get right down to the nitty gritty of the carburetor. We're going to have to take off our throttle linkage. Just pops right out in this style. Both of these, just fish them out. Capture your gas line. So as we take it apart, hang on to your gaskets. Don't let them fall. We'll see how we do. Not too bad. These are straight and true. Everything seems to be like it should be there. So might be able to salvage the carburetor. But if you can notice that rust, oh boy, don't you have rust in there? So we'll get you up on the table to examine it even more thoroughly. This side still got a lot of rust everywhere. Okay. So let's take a look quickly at this spark plug. So it's been busted off. There's got to be more pieces here. Yeah. So even the cap, it wouldn't secure onto the spark plug anyhow. Now I see broken pieces. So what we're going to do is probably replace this whole unit right there. Okay. So now let's get to the table. I'll hit pause and we'll reposition. So as you can tell, I am now capturing any residue gas. I got to funnel into a gas capture tank that I use. And we shake it out, and then we're going to loosen up these two brass bolts. This one here has a Phillips head on it. It is the drain plug, actually. So we'll tip it up because it's pretty much done dripping that way. So once we loosen, we can take this drain plug out first and tilt it on the side so any gas will come out. It's common sense. We'll set that in a safe spot. Really nothing dripping. Take off this sediment bowl. This is a 10 millimeter metric wrench also. Now when you take off this bolt here, it's a brass fitting. It has a gasketed washer. Capture that washer. If you don't put that back on, you're going to get drips. It's going to leak. And so this is a solid brass bolt. There's no holes to clean out in it. And now remember, we have a gasket underneath this sediment bowl. We got to capture that gasket. Any drips now should come out. Make sure we don't lose the gasket. And boy, isn't that dirty. Can you see? See if you can see if I don't do shadows. But boy, she's rusted and dirty inside that. We'll tip it right upside down and let that start to clean itself. Our next feat of magic here, without destroying this gasket that my fingers are on. There's a gasket in there. We're going to save that for last. This float mechanism has to come out. And the way I like to use, I use my little tweezers to do it, but you can use needle nose pliers. Either side, whichever side you see fit, but usually you want to pull in this direction. You wouldn't want to take it out this way, right? You want to go out that way. And we'll set that in a safe spot. Oops, that wasn't a safe spot. Let's pick it up and manhandle it again. I wanted to roll it to clean it just real quick. Alright, so now we're going to lift this float straight out. And if you look right here, there is a plumb bob style stopper. This is stainless steel. This one I see has a spring on it, so it should stay with it pretty good. Yeah, it should be. You should be able to tip it anyway. A lot of these will just slide right out, but that with that spring holding it in. But let's take a close look if you can see that plumb bob stainless steel, clean as a whistle for that. That's good. They usually are. Nothing really sticks to them. Now I'm going to take my dental pick, and I see that this gasket's already loose. So we'll get all the way underneath it. Skate right around. Now pick it up nice and gingerly because you want to save this gasket. You want to save it, okay? if you don't have any other ones, that's precious to you. They're really cheap, you know, you buy a 6-pack for like $2, but alright, so I see gunk in here already. Look at that. I'm taking out blackness right there. I see rust deposits inside these jets, and boy, don't that choke mechanism, that thing is so rusty. Let's open it up and show you. Can you see that rust build up in the inside there? Boy, she's going to be a nasty job to get that all out, but we can do it. We'll try to salvage it. And so here, well, that's an issue right there. That butterfly doesn't open and close like it should. She's stopping, and I see there's rust, but the main culprit on this is, I wonder if it's loose. Let's get that out of here. See if I can. Alright, so we're going to have to take, yeah, it's loose. We're going to have to take it apart anyhow. So let's show you how to take off this this butterfly. This is for your air intake when you open it up and gas goes a-flowing, air mix. So we're going to take this right out, and yep, good screw. Sometimes when you get the cheap screws, they're made out of multi-metals. So now we got to take out this butterfly. So these can be a little bit tricky because they don't just slide right in. They go in at an angle and they come out at an angle. So let's see if we can fish this out for you live on TV. There we go. So we got that. And so she's a little corroded up, but boy, isn't there rust right here. Can you see that rust? See if we can get a good angle on the rust. Shine a light in there, and there is rust right on the bottom. So we're going to take out that whole mechanism and clean it. So when you do this spring right here, she's going to stay with this, and you got to remember where to put it, how it's angled. Okay, so there's a little hole that I just popped out. Now I'm going to slide this whole unit. It should come right out, and don't lose this. It's a fun type washer that you don't want to mess with, tear, or ruin in any way, shape, or form. And so we got rust buildup right there. That's it though. We'll just take a wire brush and put it right back together, I think. So I'm going to get this gas can out of the way. Take this wire brush, clean it up. She's already shiny. Let's not ruin that cloth fiber washer. Let's make sure we keep that out of harm's way with our fingers. Any rust, because the coarseness of rust, even in the smallest form, will score up your cylinders really bad. So we want to make sure it's all gone. And that looks good. So we're going to put it right back together. Let's take a look inside here, see if we can get any more, get it cleaner than what it is. Let's use this big one here. These are carburetor brushes, and they are made to fit inside everywhere of a carburetor. And I can reach that hole at an angle, but I got her shiny already. Yeah, it's looking good. Much better. Have a little problem right here. I see something sticking to this wall. There we go. There's a big brush. Red one. Okay, so this side's looking good. Let's reach across from this side here and go right to the middle and just scrub everything down so you can get it right down to bare metal. Get any rust that's in there out. The other side's going to be tough. So let's leave it open for now. Do not lose this spring. If you think you're going to lose a spring, you can take it right off. But just remember how she goes back in, okay? So set it down the way you got it. Alright, let's work on this for a minute here. we're going to wire brush this end right here. This choke butterfly. This is the spot that your air goes in and out. This is to the outside, closest to your air filter. And if this is dirty, of course, everything will be dirty. So she's already shining up a lot better than what it was. Any gunk or buildup that you see, clean it. You're going to thank me because she should run like a top when it's all said and done. I really don't want to see any orangeness at all in this because I hate to see that go mix with the gas, go down this cylinder and just start scoring up your cylinders. There's no need for it. So look at this. This is going to be hard right here. Let's see if you can see with the light. Look at that rust buildup. Boy, that's filthy in there. It's going to be a tough one. So we're going to be doing some pick work right now. Get the bulk of it. This is where those dental picks come in handy. Next time you go to the no, don't be stealing dental picks, kids. You can buy these on Amazon. Harbor Freight has them too. They're very cheap. $6 get you the whole kit and caboodle. So you can see the tartar buildup. No, I'm just joking. These aren't teeth, people, but the rust is really bad, really bad. It's probably the worst case I've ever seen, to be honest with you. It's like she's been underwater for a week. It probably has with the winter that we've had here. Matter of fact, it's spring right now, and I just turned off my heat so you don't hear it on the radio. It's freaking freezing. Alright, we're getting there. So, yep, you're going to see the boringness of it, but you see how I'm doing it. I'm probably going to hit pause. You don't want to sit here and watch for a half hour me scraping rust. But I'm going to use brushes, a series of brushes and picks to get this cleaned up. But you can see right now that it's already looking a lot better. And then I'll probably try to take off this gasket if I can. If I can't, I won't use carb cleaner. But that's really what should be used. Maybe I'll spray down through this way because all my other gaskets are out. So yeah, I'm gonna use some carb cleaner gingerly on it. But we'll show you the aftermath of what I've got. So as I'm cleaning things out, I'm getting this choke butterfly much cleaner. I still got a ways to go, but I want to show you this. I was reaming everything out and everything's going good except now this one port is giving me a hard time. So she's stopping, she's deadheading right there. So I'm going to show you what you can do in that scenario. Take a thin flathead screwdriver and you'll see the grooves to put your screwdriver in, and you loosen this up and take it right out. It's a brass fitting, and I'm sure this end is plugged or the other one, but I'm deadheading so quickly. So you want to capture that in a good safe area. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can ream it. If this is the culprit, yeah. So it's this end right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick it clean. I'm going to pick both sides till I can get a pipe cleaner or a piece of wire through it. And boy, ain't that just gunked right up. Look at the gunk on my pick. She's just all calcified. And this is a combination of rust, but more ethanol because it's a white powder, but I do see rust in there. So we're going to go at it from both ends here. See if we can open up this at all. And we're going to just go working it back and forth. It's cumbersome with gloves. These nitro gloves, though, keep your skin nice and supple. It's important, guys, to have supple hands. It's just a word. Supple. Alright, just keep drilling it out the best you can, and if you have to use a drill, that's the last resort, having to use a drill. You gotta be pretty precise. You don't wanna just start cutting and tearing these engineered pieces. And the reason these engineers make so much money is because they know what they're doing. We're just fiction stuff. A lot of people pick on engineers. I'm not saying I'm an engineer, but anyhow, let's get right in there and clean it. Oh, it's getting better. It's getting deeper. I'm just reaming. So you want, if you feel like you're hitting metal, back off. You can tell the difference. You can tell the difference. So that's what you do in this scenario. I don't think I need to bore you anymore. I'm going to stop this portion of the video, and we'll show you the aftermath, what we're doing. But we're getting there. We're just about there. Alright, we'll hit pause and go to the next project. Okay, so now I'm making sure everything is dry. I brushed, I scraped, and I sprayed. And when I sprayed in this way, trying my best not to get any carb and choke cleaner on this gasket. So I don't have any other gaskets. I don't want to have to replace that gasket. Just silly if it's working good, so you do your best. I cleaned everything else around. So now it's time to put it back together. And so our first thing I want to do is put this brass fitting. I got that cleaned out. So when you put this back together, just remember that that grooved end at your flathead screwdriver is on top. That goes on top. Take your thin flathead screwdriver and tighten it. Always back up and then tighten. When you're working, especially with brass, you want it to strip. So the reason I back up one step is to get it lined up with its threads. Okay, snug, but don't go crazy. We don't want to strip it. Okay, so now let's put our throttle butterfly back together. So we got to put that spring back in that tucks in underneath, like that. Now we're going to put our throttle linkage in this way. And so this little, I use my tweezers. There's a little hole in here that this piece of spring is going to go into. It's really important that you get it lined up correctly. You want it to work like it was engineered. And you can use needle nose pliers on that. Make sure she's lined up and not springing the wrong way. And so she is springing the wrong way. Let's get this right. There we go. Wonder why it was fighting me so hard. Usually they just go in nice and easy. Okay, so now it's springing. See, here's your action. So now we're going to put our butterfly back in. Let me brush this off some more. See if I can get any of that gunk. It's not really gunk, it's just tarnish. Yeah, it's stained. It's just stained down there, that's all. Let's take our tweezers. Get it in there a little bit sideways. It won't fall in. And so now you gotta try to work it in there, because there's only one happy spot for it. And then these square hubs have to just line up with it. If it doesn't line up, she's not going to open and close like she should. So I don't know if you can see as I do. My head's in your way, I apologize. It's more important for me to see it right at this moment. There we go. So now you got to have a magnetized tip screwdriver to be able to do these kind of things. I don't know why they just should outlaw regular screwdrivers. I get it. There are times you don't want a magnet tip. There's many times that you don't want a magnet tip. But doing carburetors and small screws like this, you definitely want a magnet tip. So this guy's got to get one there pretty tight. Don't strip it. But tight. There we go. That's the way it's supposed to work. Just like that. Okay. Choke's working good now. Nice and shiny. Alright, we're cooking now. Let's put our sediment bowl back on. We have to put our float mechanism back in place. Luckily it's a spring-loaded plumb bob style stopper. Otherwise you got to do a balancing act. This one should be pretty easy. We're going to take this nice little pin and push it through. And you have to line everything up accordingly. So you got to use both hands, and once you get it pushed through, equal on both sides. So look at this. If you look at it real quick, this side's in too far, this side's out too far. So I'm going to line it up. There, it's that simple. Alright, so now she's springing and floating like she should. Let's get our gasket in place. So gaskets can be a little bit tricky when they start to dry. They shrink up a little bit. So that's where it's good to have, like I say, a pick. Best thing for gaskets is a nice pick, stainless steel pick. Save money on the dentist cleanings, going to your bathroom. No, don't be doing that, people. Now we're going to set our sediment bowl on. There's no right or wrong way to put it on these because the housing is all equal on both sides. We're going to put the one with the gasketed washer, and they can only fit, they're two different size threads, two different size thicknesses to these brass bolts, so you really can't put them in the wrong hole. It's impossible. One won't fit in the other. So let's tighten up. Let's throw wrenches. Stop throwing things, people. Alright, now we're going to tighten this down. So let's look at where we're going to put that drain plug. Right now I'm lining it up with the outside because that makes the most sense to me. Yeah. So you can get to it. And you don't have to crank this down right now because if you watch any of my other videos, this sediment bowl will get an air pocket in it. As the gas is trying to fill it up, it may stop right here. So if you crack this open and let some air in, the gas will drip all over the place, and then you tighten it. That's how you know gas is getting into it. Okay. We're cooking with gas. Alright, so we're going to pause here, and we're going to start putting things back together. This bad boy right here, I'm going to try to use an epoxy super glue. Super glue is magnificent stuff. And let's just clean it. Both sides, the side that's going to be glued especially. I wiped these down before I videotaped this. And I have some crazy glue, super glue here. And you really don't need a lot. Of course that one has been glued shut. So whenever you're doing some type of epoxy, it's very important to do both sides. Get it wet. Don't get it pouring off and make a mess. Just get it wet. Alright? And it's okay to let it set for a second. It needs air to dry. Okay, so I did the bottom half. Now I'm going to do this top half. Alright? Let's wipe it down again. I see some... She's not going to glue if she's dirty. Okay, you can't glue dirt in between it. It's like you can't paint dirt. A lot of people paint dirty cars and wonder why the paint turns out so horrible. Well, it's because your car was dirty. You got to wipe every inch of that car if you're going to paint it. You got to do the same thing if you're going to glue it. Any type of adhesive or epoxy, even tape, needs a clean surface. Paint your house, you got to scrape it. Yeah, I'm rambling. I know. Okay, so now we got to figure out how it lines up, just like that. Okay, so I have gloves on, which are awesome in a situation like this, because if I glue my fingers to it, it's all good, because I can just rip off my gloves. Okay, so now I'm good. I squeeze it down. You can see the glue coming out of it. Now I want to put some weight to it. Oh. It's okay. It's okay if it comes apart because it's got to dry. Now I want to put something that's fairly heavy, that's not dirty. And I'm looking around. What do I got? What do I got that I can put on here that's heavy but not dirty? So I'm going to probably put my cordless drill battery. Looks like it should be flat and apply equal pressure all the way around. I'm not going to clamp it. There. Okay, we're going to hit pause and we're going to see how this turns out. Okay, so now I just made it back from the parts store and I bought a NGK. It's a spark plug resistor cover. Yep, it's made in Japan. You can see the Japanese lettering on it. NGK's always been a good product. So we're just going to open this up and see what this kit entails. It has a boot. It has this boot and another boot. Okay, so we're cooking now. We should be good. This boot, I'm not sure if I really need to put all this on. So we'll just use this one style boot. Alright, let's take a look. So now what we got to do is cut. Let's get rid of the box. Get it right out of the way. So now what we got to do is just cut this flat. There we go. That's perfect. So do I want to keep my old boot on and put the new boot on? I'm just going to leave that one on there. It's working good. And it will cover the end. So if we take a look inside here, looks like a screw. Let's see if we can get you so you can see it. But if you look inside here, there's a screw in there. So what you do is you just turn and push this on in place. Okay, so we're going to do that right now. And that's going to screw into the copper wire. And until it stops. Feels like we're there. Feels pretty good. Alright, so now we're just going to tuck this boot on over. And that helps keep it in place. Any tugging in place. There we go. Okay, so now we take all these pieces of shop towel out so we don't forget. And we're going to plug this in and see how this works for this style, if it's too big or if I have to cut more off the wire. I think we'll be okay. Can't go the other way, so we're going to give that a test run like that, and if we have to, we can change it around. I don't think it's going to fit. We'll just do it like this for now. And see how that one works. Not happy with it, but it's definitely better than what we had on there, right? So, and our vent hose still has to fit in here. So now let's start putting things together. Let's check out and see how our glue turned out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so let's take a look at see how our clamp turned out and see if the glue is going to hold on there. So we can release this. And, oh yeah, it feels good. It looks good. You can still see crack and some gaps there. You can always put some more. It feels strong though. It feels very strong. I'm happy with that. Okay, let's take a look at this. This one concerns me too. Let's put the screws here. Oh yeah, that turned out good. So that super glue was actually pretty good adhesive on there. Yeah, we can put this back together now. Let's get right to it. Let's see if we can get this girl to run here real quick. So we're going to reposition. Okay, let's get right to it. We're going to put the carburetor on. This goes on first. Your choke end is, your throttle end is always inside, and your choke end is always to the outside if there's any confusion. So let's get right to it. First thing we do is line up our bolts to it, get them sliding in, and the first thing we want to connect is our throttle linkage, and they have to set into place. I like to use my tweezers on the thin governor throttle linkage. It makes it easier for me to, I say it makes it easier. It's always a cumbersome thing to put this in here. So make sure your action's good. Nothing's binding. Okay. Set that in place. While we have access, easy access to it, we're going to put on our gas line, and so this jacket here is to protect it from heat. So this would be the end that goes down closest to the carburetor because it's closest to the motor. And the ladle nose pliers strategically placed for your hose clamp. Okay, feels good. So this, of course, will go up into the gas tank. Alright, so let's set this in deeper and put on this spacer, just like so. And now our air box will go on. And before we do that, let's make sure our mechanism for the choke is on. Make sure it works correctly. Just slides into place like that. Slide your vent tube in for the valve cover. Let's get our 2 nuts on it. We go right here on those long bolts that hold everything together. Okay, now we need our 10mm 1/4" drive socket wrench, and we'll just work those in. Don't have to go crazy and break the plastic. This is all plastic. You don't need to, just get it snug so she don't vibrate apart. There we go. And let's get our air box. Okay, so we got some little bit of gas in here, just enough to give her a test run, make sure everything is on. Fuel is on, and I've had it on for about a minute, so I double checked. Let's show you how to do that. You loosen up your sediment bowl, and we'll make sure there's a drip, so that the bottom nut on the sediment bowl, you loosen it, you get a couple drips out of it, and then you tighten it back up. That way you know you got gas in there. And secondly, there won't be an air pocket to stop the gas. That will actually happen. And it's hard to believe, but it does. Make sure spark plug is in. All my vents are on, my gas line's on. Nothing's leaking right now. So we're good. Let's give her a test whirl. He said it was running when he used it last, so hopefully won't be a lot of tugs. Make sure you're in the run position. This one is down. I'm double checking. Throttle. Let's see. All the way forward. Okay, so wish me luck. Here we go. Fire in the hole, people. It's going to get loud. Oh yeah, a couple safety tips. Hearing protection is a must, even with a log splitter. And I'm going to be using these. And well-ventilated area. I have my garage door open, and I'm freezing. Okay, here we go. Fire in the hole, people. Fire in the hole. Oh, died off. But we know it runs. Okay, let's shut it off. Well, you know what? I just want to make sure it's going to run. Oh. Let's choke it. Okay. So definitely a good running motor. So we did all the bells and whistles on it, and she is ready for service except for the 2 nuts that I got to replace on here. Something I don't have in-house, so that I'll go pick up momentarily and tell the owner to come and get it. Thank you for your participation. Safety first. Use gloves, hearing protection, well-ventilated area, and take your time. There's no race. Always be safe. All right, thank you. Peace out. If you like these, feel free to subscribe.